Building websites inside of GoHighLevel can feel so confusing, and most tutorials on YouTube only cover a tiny part of this. So in this video, I'm doing something a little different. I brought in web design expert Paige, who has been building websites for over 13 years. And together, we're gonna be combining our knowledge to show you how to build a world-class GoHighLevel website step by step. We'll even show you how to AI SEO optimize your website and add AI integration so it can also perform really well. So get ready, because this will be the most in-depth high-level website tutorial available on YouTube in 2026.
So I want to show off how to build out websites and funnels in high level, very detailed, step by step. I have a guide that's going to kind of help me go over everything and not miss anything and stay organized. So obviously, before you design a page, there's some prep work that you would do. You would actually get your project organized, understand which pages of a website you're building, build out a knowledge base so that you can develop copywriting for the page, because you really want to design around the words on a screen. But we're going to just get into the builder so I can show you the nitty gritty. But then you also want to have your brand guidelines ready for whatever business you're building a website for. But let's just get into designing the actual pages and how the builder is laid out in high level. So when you get started, this is sort of like historic website design is using a mockup that you maybe built on Figma or designed on Canva or something like that. I actually prefer to go straight into the builder and start either from templates, pre-built sections, or the AI builder. So I'm just going to talk about that now, and then we're going to go into the builder basics, and then we're going to go in depth on all of the details. So when you're in high level, the first thing to understand is that the funnel builder and the website builder, they operate the exact same. So when you're actually in the builder, they're completely identical. The main difference between funnels and websites is that funnels allow you to split test. So you'll be able to create a variation of that page and split test and see the stats in just a little bit more organized a way. But when you're actually in the builder, they
Real
are
quick, Paige. So just to make sure everyone understands this, when you learn one of them, you learn both essentially.
That's right. Yeah.
Perfect. Keep going. That's awesome.
Totally. So if you're creating a new site, this is what I was talking about. You have several ideas. You can create a new website totally from scratch and from blank. You can start from a template. There's a huge template library. You can even go and choose, you can search by industry, by niche, right? Look at wherever you want to start. It doesn't even have to be the same niche. You could take a legal template and turn it into a dog grooming website. You can choose whatever you want to do. That is number one, the way that you can do it. Number two, the way that you can do it that I talk to people oftentimes is you use something called pre-built sections. And so I'm just going to start from scratch. We'll just call it, new. And this way you can see what pre-built sections are. I think these are really underutilized, and they're fantastic because all the padding is done for you. So we're going to go ahead and click to add a new page here. We'll just pretend like this is a brand new homepage. And the path is obviously what the domain / would be for the URL. So you can choose one, or by default, it'll actually take the page name. So this would be / home. But if I wanted it to be like / welcome, I can actually choose that slug. This is, importing from ClickFunnels. So if you have any clients or you yourself are migrating from ClickFunnels, you can actually put that URL here. In this case, we're just building from scratch. So I'll create that new page and pop this over. So, and now we're going to create from blank or use existing. The use existing feature is pretty awesome because you can pull in other pages that you've built across your platform, even funnel pages. And so you can pull into the design of something you've already made within this sub account, and you can use that page. But again, I'm going to show you what it looks like to use pre-built sections. So I'm going to start from blank. So this is the main website builder here. And I'm going to go through this in a little bit more detail, but right now I'm just going to show you specifically pre-built sections. So clicking on this plus button, it's under here called pre-built sections. And these are really great. There's all these categories here. So typically you would start with kind of like a welcome section on top. And maybe let's say you wanted the one that has a video in it, and you're just dragging it in, which is really awesome. And then you could think, okay, the next thing I want to be talking about is who is this for? And then you're bringing in that section next and you're dragging it in. And then I want to be able to show them, let's see, like the awards that we've got and, how important this is. And I'm just kind of moving quickly to just show you.
Of course. Yeah.
Before you know it, you have an entire page where you can even, kind of show off of products built with these pre-built sections. The really nice thing about these is that they're really slick. These were from Gustin Sun, who consulted. He's, a pretty well-known funnel builder in the space and consulted with High Level to build these. So they just look dialed in already. And this is a way that you can kind of use a semi-template approach to make it your own. So that's way number 2. And then way number 3 is the new AI builder. So I'm actually going to go out of this and let's just create a new page with AI and you can actually see what AI is capable of. All right, Declan, are you using any of the AI building yet?
Yes. They actually recently released the newest form, which has not been released to the public yet, which is amazing.
Yeah. So we'll just call this just AI just for kind of like show here. And if you leave that path blank, like I said, it just kind of defaults to AI. And so I'll create with blank, but once you load this, now you're seeing that it's got the generate with AI. And yeah, Declan, I'm excited because I've seen the newest releases they're going to do to this and it's going to be really powerful. So, but here it's kind of giving you the option to walk through this and come up with a prompt pretty quickly. So this generate with AI is this ask AI section over here, and it'll help you build this. So this is also a really cool way that you can, build pages, right? So high converting funnel, that's a little bit too simplistic. I would recommend going to the assistant. I don't know, let's just make up a company like so create, let's see. Let me edit this. I'm just going to come up with a company called Dogs R Us.
Mhm.
And then you can choose which industry this is in. Obviously, it's in pets, in the pet industry. This is kind of like formulating the prompt for you, but you can obviously go in deeper. You could even go into ChatGPT or Claude and ask it to create a prompt for you that you can put into the high level builder in order to set something like this up. And so, for example, if we wanted it to, I don't know, sell their products and services, and then who's the target? It would be individuals and consumers. It would be pet owners. This is just generating that rough draft of the prompt and you can, make it your own after that. So let's just say maybe they do training or something. So create a landing page for Dogs R Us with the goal of selling products and services, target audiences. So this is what I'm saying is it's kind of creating that, and maybe I can zoom in a little bit here. It's kind of creating that general idea of a prompt and you can still make it your own, right? So we could just say affluent pet owners, if I could spell. And then let's see, affluent pet owners. And then I can basically decide what I want it to be. And then maybe their offering is dog training, 6 weeks. Okay, something like that. So very, very simple. If I took like a ton more time coming up with this like incredibly detailed prompt, you could imagine what you could create, but it's already going to work. It's creating its own to-do list. It's drafting up the website. And the really powerful thing about this, I mean, Declan, you already know this, is there's a lot of other tools that you can build sites on through AI. You could build on Lovable. You could build on Manus. You could have Claude Code put a landing page together. There's an endless number of AI tools that you could use to create a landing page. The problem is, in my opinion, with those tools as a web designer, is that you lose all control. So
Yeah.
you have to then go chat with the AI in order to make any updates to that page. And I've had experiences where we've built a Manus landing page and we said, change only this. And then it goes and change 15 other things.
Yep. It also too, Paige, a big problem is that it doesn't have the entire CRM attached and all the other features. So you end up having to get the duct tape out if you want to add stuff, and Zapier. With high level, it's all in one spot. You can build one giant homogeneous system.
Yeah.
It just works way better.
I know. It's so cool. We early on when I would say the high level AI builder, which just keeps getting better and better and better. Early on, when it really wasn't not up to snuff, we were building Manus landing pages for speed and then using webhooks to send that data into high level because high level is the back end system for all of our clients.
Yep.
But like I said, you do lose that control. So I'd ask Manus for one little simple update on that landing page and it would change 15 different things just taking it upon itself. Thank you, AI. But what's nice about this is that as soon as this thing rounds out and it puts it here in front of us in the builder, it is drag and droppable. It's built natively in high level now. So you have the drag and drop editor, which we're going to get to in our next section here, going through each of the details, because as you can see, there's a lot of icons up here. There's another, kind of flyover that comes over here, pop-up panel. There's settings here. I think to the person getting into this initially, it might look a little overwhelming. And if you're, watching this and thinking, but I already know the basics, I'd say stick around because there's some advanced stuff that I'm going to go through you might not know of or might not be using very effectively.
100%. Also, it's constantly updating. And this is for everybody watching. If you guys have any questions at all during this video at any time, drop them in the comments down below and I will answer personally. That way we can both be on the same page. I can obviously improve with feedback and then you can obviously learn stuff. So at any time, drop that down below because this is going to be a very, very in-depth tutorial.
Yeah, I'm going to go through absolutely everything. So this is on step 5 of 5. So I think we're going to have this give us something. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and push forward on the overview of this builder area itself. I want to kind of go over some of these icons, what they mean. So layers, we're going to come back to that, but the layers of a page show you everything so that you can access rows, columns, etc. And I'll go over the basics of how like the pages are built and broken down. This will show you all of the pages in a website. This is great because you can access the pages of your website here and on this little toggle drop down. And this didn't used to exist. You used to have to kind of go back out. And if you've ever built in something like WordPress, you also know that you design one page at a time. And you have to like go back out, go into the new page. Now you can be in this builder and you can toggle between all the pages of the website, which is really, really nice. And then over here is your tracking codes. So you'll see here the ability to pull in tracking codes. This would be page specific codes because you can also set site weight specific codes and we'll get to that. This right here is for custom CSS. So we'll be talking about that. I mean, this is really nice that you have that ability to make custom designs through code. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe push forward on a brand new, I'm going to let this run in the background if that's cool with you.
Yep.
And we're going to push in so I can actually show you how everything's working instead of just talk about what it does. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull up a totally different kind of demo site here. Yep. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So let's just go back. I'm just going to take a site that I already got started on so that you can actually see some stuff on the page. This is just a random site created for kind of a fictitious sushi restaurant. And so in this case, now let's talk about all of these things up here and how this builder actually works. Kind of going back to the guide, here's where we're at now. We already talked about how you can get started. Now I want to talk about what those items are doing on the top and then a couple of different things. And then we're going to go into actually how these things are laid out. So up here, like I said, this layers panel shows you what layers are on a page, section by section, row by row. This can be really handy, especially if padding is removed and you can't quite access something. And you can also edit these right here and even rename them. So if we wanted to call this like menu button section, we can add that and we've renamed it. And now this allows you to access anything on the page, which is going to become relevant the more I show you padding and how you can actually structure these sites. The next thing over here are the actual pages themselves that I talked about. This is super cool because now you don't have to leave the builder. You can just toggle between pages, right? And so that's really, really handy. The tracking codes, like I mentioned, these are just page specific codes. So website specific codes, the code for the entire site, like your Google Analytics tracking and your Facebook tracking, those go in a different spot. But these would be for your event conversions on each individual page. If you wanted to put specific event tracking codes on an individual page, that's where this goes for the footer or the header. Okay, the next one was the custom CSS that I was talking about. This is where you can add any CSS code. And also, too, spoiler alert, I've been doing website design for 13 years and I do not write code. I copy and paste code. And now I can ask AI to generate code to do something fun or flashy or specific with design. And it will give me the code and I can paste it in here. So we'll come back to this, but don't think you need to be a coder in order to get a really gorgeous website built on high level, but it is available for you if you want to go the nerdy extra mile. Typography is here. I think that this is pretty basic in terms of how this works, but you can set a main headline font and a content font. So if we set this main headline font and let's say we set a content font right here, you can also override this on an individual level. So this is sort of for the main page. And then I'm going to show you how those elements line up to which font it's choosing. And you can override it. You can get as specific as you want. You're also not limited to 2 fonts. You're also not limited to the fonts in the system. So you can upload your own fonts, which you can see right here. And then text color and link color, again, it's sort of a wide sweeping setting for the entire page, but it can also be overridden on individual elements. So we'll talk about that. Background is for the background of the entire website page. Don't touch this section. Don't put a background behind the whole website page. It will not be worthwhile. There is no need for a background image, in my opinion, or a color. So I would just leave that, skip it. Pop-ups are really cool. We're going to talk about those a little bit more when we go into detail on the kinds of conversion assets you can create. But obviously, we all know what a pop-up does. It pops up on top of a website, and you can include anything on here as well, like forms, quizzes, surveys, opt-ins for your newsletters, right? And you can set the settings. So we'll come back to that, but I just want you to know what's on this page. SEO and AI search optimization is an incredibly important thing because obviously we're building websites to be found on the internet and now found through AI search. So we're going to actually go through what are each of these settings.
So real quick, Paige, you're saying that they're also going to get basically an SEO tutorial as well. They're going to learn how to build a site on high level, but also rank it online as well.
That's right.
See, that's what so many of these tutorials on YouTube are missing. They just show you the basics when in reality, it's the proper AI widgets, it's building the website, it's building it to convert, it's ranking it. So guys, we are literally covering everything in this video. And if you're more advanced, you also need to watch this too, because with the updates, it's going to help refresh that.
Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. So let's go back and see what our AI created. It's still working behind the scenes, which is totally fine. So now we talked about really what those items are doing at the top menu. It just shows you the robustness of how well this builder has been thought out. And I've built in Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, Weebly, Kajabi, Kartra. I mean, you name it, right? I've built on so many different builders over the last 13 years. And I just got to tell you, like the way that this builder has come along, it's now my preferred place. We're trying to get everybody off of all of those other tools because it is so powerful. It's easy to use, it's intuitive. And once you learn it, you're not going to want to keep switching over to other platforms because you get everything behind the scenes from the CRM, etc. Save options really quickly. This is pretty basic, but up here on top, it shows you autosave. And I know for some designers, especially if you're working on a live website, you may want the ability to turn that off. So that should be pretty straightforward. Autosave being on means that every update you're making to the page. So if I click in here and I, basically change this right here, then now that is auto saved, which is really cool, right? Because if you ever lost your work and you're like, oh, that's annoying, you can just see it just saved at 12:33. So that's pretty cool. So kind of looking at the overall builder up here too, you've got the ability to preview custom codes, do cookie consent, right? And even change this. This is basically the builder layout. So everything that you see here where this panel pops over, you can change that. Let's go back to the home page here. So this is really just a performance of how you want this builder to be displaying. I typically just kind of like leave it on the 2 column, which I think is the default mode. So what it does is it shrinks this window so you can see everything you're working on and slides this over. And these are all where all the settings are. So we're going to go in depth on those. And then you've got your pages list that we talked about. So you can toggle between them. You've got your desktop mode and your mobile mode, which is really cool. And they've made a lot of improvements to this. So I can't wait to show you kind of the nuances there. Over here, keyboard shortcuts, if you're the kind of person who wants to be clicking keyboard keys, I think this is really handy for them to show you. And then version history is really nice because if you've ever used WordPress and you run into an issue where you need to push back to a previous version of the page, you can now see those version numbers and you can restore to a different version. So if I click on this is a later version, you can all of a sudden see this button is available here for me to restore this version. This can also be really helpful if you have multiple team members working in your pages. You can also see who edited it last. That's a lot of syllables. Okay, cool. So that is how these are basically the overview of all the navigation and the autosave. Let's get into the actual essence of how the building blocks of these pages are put down. And then I'm going to go through each of the details. Declan, you told me to go in depth. So I'm going to go through everything.
I want you to go super in depth. I just have one question before we jump in, because I know you've been building websites for over 13 years. My question to you is, out of all of these, what should a beginner start with? Because obviously we're going through everything, but I'm talking about the different ways. You had the from blank, you had the templates, you then had the pre-built sections, and now you have the AI builder. Where should a beginner start to properly learn this? What would you tell them to do? Because obviously this video is going to help all, but a starting point will be helpful because they might be like, oh my God, where do I go? I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah. Total beginner, I would say I would probably, well, I mean, there's 3 options for a total beginner. You have the templates, you have the pre-built sections or the AI builder. I guess if I were going to say, if you really want to learn how things work, I would probably tell you to focus here if you're a complete beginner. And the reason why is because even some of the templates have done some interesting things where they might have CSS or negative padding in a place, and it might confuse you. These pre-built sections are just what you get is what you see. And it allows you to understand the real fundamentals, which we're going to talk about now in terms of what's a section, what's a row, what's a column, what's an element, etc. So let me show that off by doing what I'm talking about, which is pulling in one of these pre-built sections. And so let me grab one that is a welcome section on here on top. And then we'll even grab one. Let's see, we can grab one with like a video on top too. So I'm just going to drag this into here. So this is I'm going to zoom out so it's like a normal amount of screen. Okay. So this is what I was talking about, which I think these pre-built sections really, really help you. Let's talk about the hierarchy of how this works. So obviously a website is built in kind of a block style, and it's a grid of sections, which are green. So as I'm hovering over this section, you can see I've got some options here: setting wheel, a little floppy disk, which is the universal save icon. If I come over to this side, you can see I've got a duplicate option. I can drag it around. I can delete it. Green is a section. Within a section, you have rows. And this might allow me to show you a row. Rows are blue. I need to probably scroll this up so you can see a little bit better since we're on the bottom. Rows are blue. And rows can have multiple columns in them. Columns are light purple or lavender, and the elements are orange. So what do I mean by elements? I mean, so like sections is like a space within a website. It's a big box you put things into, and inside of that, you need rows and you need columns. You can kind of think of like a spreadsheet. But then inside of the rows and the columns is where you're putting the elements. The elements are pictures, videos, buttons, etc.
And that's what when you click the plus, all of those options is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
these are the elements.
These are the elements, and they slide over here on this left-hand side, but you can also always access it by clicking on this plus button. So clicking on and off of this plus button will bring that up no matter what you're looking at. And this is where you add new sections, new rows, etc. So if we started a complete section from scratch, let me just show you the hierarchy in like a really simple way. Here's our section, and it'll show you natively that you need to add something inside that section. And the thing that you need to add is a row. because you're trying to figure out, am I doing 4 columns? Am I doing a 5-column row? Right? What am I going to put on here? Let's do a 2-column row just to kind of keep it simple. So here's your 2-column row. The row itself is blue and the columns are lavender. Now we're adding an element into these columns. So there's a ton of elements. If you scroll down, you've got photo galleries and surveys and calendars and all the other kind of growth assets that you can build, QR codes, pricing tables, right? Checkout, order elements, right? Social media icons, featured images. You can see there's a really, really big list, and these are the elements. So let's just keep it simple just to show you sort of like bringing in something pretty basic here so you can actually see what's going on. So let's just say we wanted an image, and you can drag it anywhere you want, which is really nice. So let's say we wanted an image here, and then we wanted on this side, we want kind of I like this new rich text box option. So you can see how quickly you're dragging these elements on, and that's the breakdown. Now, there's one more nuance to these, which is super exciting, which is you can save these as templates, and that'll sort of change the coloring of it. So, for example, on this section, you've got a save floppy disk icon, and it allows you to save this section and give it a name. So we'll just call this like I don't know, details section as though it was giving off some details or maybe like offer details section or whatever you want to call it, right? So this is your naming standard. And you have 3 options here. So your main section template would allow you to pull it in to any page as you use it on the website, but it's only a template. And when you save it one place and you change it and make updates to it, it's unique on each of those pages versus a global section, which means that globally throughout the entire website, if you change it one place, it will change everywhere you have put that section. So you could have a really good example of global sections that are useful would be a header menu, a footer, a testimonials grid, maybe your offer details, because if you change things about your offer or add to your offer stack, then you want to make sure that when you change it one place, it changes everywhere. That's a great use of a global section. Universal sections are a lot like global in the fact that if you change them one place, they change everywhere, but they also can go between multiple websites. So you can actually have unlimited websites built in an account on High Level. And you can also bring in your
You
universal.
actually have unlimited?
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow. Okay,
I
continue.
believe so.
I just didn't
I've
know.
never run into a limit.
That's amazing because I'm telling you, I've worked with WordPress and a bunch of other, web design companies, and there is limits. There's always limits. So
Mhm.
that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kajabi pricing is it only includes like their first tier only includes one website. The idea that you could have multiple domains like you can here and build multiple websites, it's just unheard of. You end up in an enterprise account paying an insane amount of money. So, this universal section, they built this because people were saying testimonials are a testimonial grid is a really good example of a universal section because maybe I want it in my sales funnel that I created. And maybe I also want it on the homepage of this website. And then maybe I also want it on my personal brand website because these testimonials were about working with me, but also working with our company. So now a universal section can update on multiple websites or multiple funnels, which is really, really awesome. And this was highly requested, so I'm really, really thrilled by it. So these are the types of elements, and we'll just go ahead and save this as a global section to use on this website here and save it. And you can see now this section went from green to purple. And that's one of the nuances that I wanted to share with you. And let me scroll. If you see down here, it's really small, but it says global right where my mouse is. And so that shows you that this is a global section. So visually, it's really helpful because if I have this on multiple pages and I make an update, I've now updated it on every page that this global section exists. In fact, I can give you a look at that. So let's go ahead and just save. And let's pop over into another page of this just, random demo website. Let's go to the About Us page. And let's go to the plus button. And under plus, you're going to see that you have this section here or this item called saved assets. And if I go to my global sections, you can see the one that I just created called offer details section. So let's just drag it in here and you can see it says new title. So if I save it now on the about us page, it's on here. And then on the home page, it's also on here, just a little bit further down. And so if I change this, right, and I'm like, best sushi ever, just because of this random example we're using, and I save this here, if we pop over to this same section over here on the About Us page, you'll see it says best sushi ever. So again, this can be really, really useful to not, long gone are the days where you had to log into every single page and update the same
Yeah,
item.
that was literally terrible. Like literally like wasted hours doing that.
Yeah. So, and then same thing here. If I put an image into here, which you can do so, I'm going to go through all of these, but just kind of a general overview here is if I click on this, the image icon, then you can pull in and upload pictures. So the basics of uploading a photo would be this blue button on top, but you can also now, which is really, really cool, you can connect your Canva, you can connect your Google Drive, and you can actually pull things in through Google Drive and Canva, which is awesome because you don't have to go to Canva, download it, and then re-upload it here.
Oh, wait a minute. Can you
Did you know this?
I actually did. That's amazing. So you can pull from Canva now. I knew
Yeah.
you could do Google Drive, but Canva?
Yeah, that just launched. So actually,
Whoa, that's gonna save so much time.
let me just hold on, just because I've got some client stuff in my Canva. Let me just pull this up and show you what this looks like by just kind of filtering my own Canva account. Here it goes. So are you seeing this now? So where you grab it is this drop down menu here, which is so cool about High Level is you get all the media that you've ever uploaded. Plus you can use Unsplash or Pixabay, which are those giant stock photography websites. You can just search for whatever you want and bring it in. Again, you don't have to open another browser tab, go download it, go put it in here, go optimize it, get the sizing right. You just a couple clicks, you're pulling in professional stock photography. And now with this, you've got Google Drive option if you've connected your Google Drive, and then Canva. And so this is an example of Canva. And what I love about this too is you see how I filtered my designs with my own name because I have a lot of designs for clients and all kinds of stuff. And so now, like, let's just say I want this image right here, right? Or this image right here, whatever I want. I click on these three little dots and I just do import to media library. And that's it. So now if we toggle back to all that I have, whoops, not all. If we go to my media, like what was that bird?
I know.
Like a cockatoo. And then it should be here, is where I just did this right before we logged on here is I pulled this one in from Canva, and then it'll show up here in your main media library. So you can then use that from Canva. You can do the same thing with Google Drive, which is awesome. So you just come in
High
over here.
Level never ceases to amaze me. I mean, they really are the best AI software. I mean,
Yeah.
they do so much more than everyone else.
Right. It's amazing. So I can pull in like a photo of me, right? So if you organize your stuff really well, like if you have headshots or, if also too, when we're building for a client, we're organizing our files through Google Drive. We're asking the client to submit photos they have of themselves, their team, etc. Now with this integration, we don't even have to go download them. We can just import them directly from Google Drive and it'll import them for us to use on the websites themselves. So that's really, really helpful. Let's go back to my media. And so you can see this is the one I just brought in from Google Drive. It's taking a second to load. And then I'm just going to, my go-to is to double click and it'll pop it onto the page. So yeah, that saves a ton of time. Just
Amazing.
Google Drive is definitely my preferred organization for businesses. So when I saw that come through and then Canva, because that's where we do advanced graphics, I just absolutely love that. So this example here we had just talked about, remember this was a global section. And so now that we updated it here, we just updated it on the homepage. And this is a very strange looking example now of a sushi restaurant that has a picture of me on a bed. So, so there you go. Let's go back to the guide here. So We talked about that. We talked about the saved sections and elements being dark or bright purple. So what do I mean by bright purple? Bright purple would be if you took this right here as a global. Let's just go ahead and click on the duplicate. Now we've duplicated that entire section. It's green again because it's a normal regular section. So if I change this here, it's only going to change in one place. But we can also save this as a universal section. So we'll just call this kind of offer details universal, just so you can see the difference. And so if I save this, remember the difference now is that for a universal section, I call this bright purple. So it says universal down here, and this is just kind of purple. And so they're slightly different, but it also gives you that visual cue of, hey, this is going to change. If I have this on multiple websites, this is going to change on multiple websites. And then this is a global for only this particular website, but every page in this website. And I believe like a regular saved template is also some other different color. So if we're just kind of like looking at our color options, if this were just an offer detail section that's not global, that's just independent, depending on which page it's on, I think it's a different color. So hopefully that helps, because I think a lot of people, when they initially get in here, and you can see here, this one, whoops, that one was, oh, good. Here we go. This is my chance to show you that there's an undo button.
Yeah.
And so hopefully you can see it here, but the colors to me, they really help me frame what we're doing. And the really nice thing too is if I wanted to add, let's say when we're hovered over blue, I wanted to add another section, they do give you these handy plus buttons that'll just pull up where it's got kind of those sections, those rows here on top, right? So you can add, if we wanted to, all of a sudden I can add a 4-column row. Another thing they did, if we're talking layers and how this works, is they're allowing you to put multiple rows within a row, which is, I mean, you weren't originally able to do this, and that can open up a lot of options. So let's say I want this column here to now be two columns inside of this. I now have the ability to do that. So if I wanted to pull in, I don't know, like a button and have two buttons sitting next to each other, just to show you. I'm duplicating, I'm dragging and dropping, right? Duplicating, dragging, drop. Now I have this is a 2-row, like a 2-column row right here. And then I have another 2-column row within here. Now, as I'm hovering over it, it's taking me a second to get to it, but it's right here. And so that's where also too, for my sort of like more advanced designers or builders, and you're thinking like, I need to access all of these layers. I hope this comes full circle now to show you that these are the page layers, and
Oh, yeah.
you can get down into the nitty gritty. So for example, since we named these are what is showing us that we have that offer detail. So this is right, our 4-column row or 2-column row. It's showing us where we are. And this can be really helpful too, especially if you, for example, you can see now, if we drill all the way down, we're at the button level, and all of these have the 3 dots allowing you to hide them, edit them, clone them, delete them, right? Save them as saved elements. So this can be really helpful as well. And edit can allow you to rename them. So if you wanted to rename them, there's actually an element name over here, and you could just call it like menu button or whatever it's doing, right? So that's the idea behind that. So that's why I wanted to bring up layers again. That was part of my guide to make sure I talked about that. So we talked about layers. Declan, what do you think? Is it cool if we talk about custom fonts and padding?
Yeah, my favorite subject.
All right, so let's go back in over here. Actually, I'm trying to see if this is just taking its sweet little time over here. So we'll see what happens.
It might, sometimes it loads in like a minute. Sometimes it won't go and you have to redo it, but don't even worry about that.
Okay. So the AI builder does work also too when I'm not opening a million different tabs. I do recommend just actually waiting on it, but we're jumping forward to talk about it. But we can kind of revisit that later. So, all right, let's talk about padding. Let's talk about custom fonts first, and let's talk about padding. So I'm just going to delete this section here. Where are we? We're going to just look at custom fonts and padding. I'm just going to take something that's already got some like style to it. So as I talked about in the typography panel, you have the ability to choose 2 different fonts, a headline font and a content font, but you can override those. So if we look at this right here, there's a couple of ways that we can change this. So if we click over here to the typography type, we can change it over to the content font. We can change it over to the headline font, In fact, let me make these slightly different. They're the same thing. So I think it'd be helpful if you could see the difference. Let's just make this a serif font so you can see the difference. I believe I need to click save and refresh this page real quick. So it's pulling in that typography. Cool. So now you can see it. And let me just get rid of some of these so we can see what we're working with. All right. So now here, if I switch from headline to typography, and you might be like, Paige, that didn't work, then I'm going to show you why, because you can override these. So if I put in a headline right here, as you highlight it, and I think that this can get like reasonably confusing, but once you start working with it, you're going to learn. This bar pops up and it'll allow you to override really anything for this text box. But if we scroll down the general tab right here, these are the different things that I wanted to show you. There's a color option right here for this element. And so we can make it white by default, but also too, I can highlight it over here. And even though the default is white, I can highlight a portion of it and I can click and maybe we can make this bright yellow. So now you can have multiple color options where you used to only just be able to have one.
Yeah, that's definitely new.
Yeah, it's like a couple months, I'd say. And it can get kind of confusing because you could make the rest of this text a different color and you're coming over here and trying to change this. And you're like, well, why isn't it changing? Or, why is that one still yellow? It's because they did give you this ability to kind of override it at an individual level. And so, but that's really cool. And let's go back and change like the main base color to white here, just to keep going with this example. And so here now at the top, you can see the typography font. And so if I change it over to the content font, it's changing over to that serif. This is a way, if you want to set these up and you ever want to change kind of fonts throughout, it'll pull from these defaults. Now, those are only 2 of them. What if you want to upload your own custom font? They've
Yeah.
made that easier now than ever before. So if I click on custom font, and I click on this default font box, we can now upload our own fonts. And so you can search these. There's like hundreds, if not thousands in here. I'll just put a letter in and see if it'll search for us. So you can scroll and they made it really nice. You can now see kind of a preview of what they may look like when they're on the page. And also too, now we can upload our own. So if I click to upload here, you can upload it directly from your device. So if you have a TTF file or an OTF font file, you can see here, these are the types that are supported, or you can even choose from your media library and bring that font in. So this is an example of a font file that I uploaded. Once you upload it, it'll allow you to select it. And so now we have this font here is a totally custom font. And you can see now it says custom font and it pulls in the font file that we uploaded. So pretty sweet. Pretty sweet, because if you're anything like me, you're obsessed with creativemarket.com and you're always buying new fonts. And especially if a client comes to you and says that that's their signature brand font, now it used to be highly complicated. Now it's so easy. You just upload that brand new font. So if I upload a new one, probably just searching for like a .ttf file, you see how many different fonts I have. A lot. I have like thousands of fonts. I'm kind of obsessed. So,
I want to quickly just take a moment and thank you again, Paige, because I love how in-depth this is. I really do. So many tutorials on this exact subject, they just skim the surface. But like what I know is when I was, first getting started, when I went in depth on these tutorials and watched them from other people, when I did find the in-depth ones, that's what helped the most. So again, thank you again. And for everyone watching, they're going to get so much out of this because it's not just going over the first layer, so to speak. It's like the second, third, fourth, fifth, which is what's really going to give them that depth of knowledge and skill.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. So then you can see I just added this font here, totally custom. Yeah, that's my goal, Declan, is to just give as much actual value as possible, because also too, I really love serving other web designers.
Yes.
I know what a struggle it was to get new clients and then to constantly learn a new platform. I was constantly learning like, oh, okay, this client wants it built on Squarespace. Let me go figure out how the Squarespace builder works. And I was kind of like bending to everyone's whim before I realized that if I would just learn high level, I would not have to learn another platform at all. And also, I don't have to duct tape. Like, I've got a friend of mine who also designs websites, and she was saying, "Well, we build it in Squarespace." And I was like, "You really should build it in high level." And and I said, "What do you do when you need to attach on their email marketing tool and you need a form to be like automating things on the back end?" And she's like, "Well, we just use Zapier and connect it to whatever other tool they're using." And I told her, I was like, "Don't those break? Those zaps, they break." And she said, "Yes." And I was like, "You would just learn this platform. You would never have to worry about that." So, okay, cool. Let's talk about a couple of other things specific to now that we've looked at this, and then I'm going to go into padding. So, as you hover over it, right, these are kind of overrides, but then there's also all these settings over here, and a couple of big ones that I want to talk about here, and also the heading hierarchy. So, this is a little bit of like a very quick PSA on how Google searches our sites, how search engines look to see, is this a good site and is it structured well? So, structuring your headings are very, very important. You should only ever have one H1, which is like the highest priority heading, one H1 on a page. So, one per page. If you run your audits through something like Ahrefs, then you'll see it'll throw errors when you have multiple H1s. And so this is really important because by default, when I add an element and I add a heading, by default, you know, let's just put it into like white right here so you can see it. By default, this is an H1. So if all you do kind of lazily is like drag in these heading elements, you're actually dragging in multiple H1s for a page. So this is where that hierarchy is super important. You can change it to an H2, but you might think, well, but I don't want it to be that small. That's no problem. You can still go to the font size and make your font bigger. So now you've got a bigger title, right? So it's not about, when you think hierarchy, it's not about how big, like H1 is like the largest font, it's size 40 or whatever. And then these are all smaller fonts. It's not about that. Think about when you took like college notes and you had like a main heading and then all these subheadings, and then you had like little bullet points and little notes here, and you sort of like indented your notes. That's what this is signaling to the search engines, no matter how large the text is or how small the text is. So
Interesting.
it's actually really important to the page hierarchy. So if this is also a heading that's really, really important, again, I'm just changing it to an H3, but I can modify the font size any way that I want. You also are going to need paragraph text. And so you can see this is paragraph. It says it right here. It's super small, but I'll kind of zoom in here. So you can see it says paragraph. And I think one common mistake I see is that people will just change the font or how it's sized and think, oh, well, it's a smaller font on the page, so therefore the search engines are going to understand. But what they're really looking at is the code behind the scenes, which says this is a paragraph, this is a heading, this is an H2 heading, this is an H3 heading, and it gives the structure really quickly to a search engine. So that's how you modify that. And that's why I really love the newest edition. You can see it says new right here, of rich text, because rich text, unlike headings and paragraph text, give you more options. Let's go to that section that I had that had that rich text box in there. And so now as you hover over these, you can see this is an H4, this is an H1, this is a P for paragraph, right? And these are bulleted lists. This is a quote, right? And so that allows you to create multiple types within one main text box. So that's called rich text, which is, I think, because it's newer, not a lot of people know about it. And most people are kind of used to just dragging in. They kind of do them one at a time. They go, okay, well, I'll take a headline here, and then I'm going to add in a subheadline, and then I'm going to add in the paragraph text. And so most people kind of design with this in mind. And so this rich text box is kind of giving you the same flexibility all in one space.
Perfect.
So, okay.
Perfect. I'm even taking some notes right now on some of this because I didn't know some of this actually. Not even kidding you.
Oh, nice.
Some of this stuff is new, so I'm making sure I brush up on this because this is some advanced stuff. It also, the high level builder does seem to have gotten way more robust.
Yes.
Like way more robust.
Yes, it certainly has, which is exciting. So let's talk about padding now. Padding is incredibly important because that's really what allows you to make things look and feel the best. There are padding for sections, columns, rows, everything. So actually I'm going to bring in kind of a fresh pre-built section just so we can look at what this means. I'm going to bring in this section right here. Okay, so there is padding at each of the sort of the section, row, column elements. And so you go to styles over here in this builder, and this allows you to change the padding. So I can click to give it margin or give it padding. The difference between these two is padding is what happens within the section, row, or element, right? So you can see it's happening within this box, and then margin's what happens on the outside, right? A good example would be showing off. I need to show a different, we're going to need some color contrast for you to be able to see the differences and the nuances here. So I'm just going to take this section right here and add a background color to it. Let's just add a random purple color. And then you can see here under styles, if we set the padding, the margin on top, we're moving it. And so see now there's a gap between this section and this section because I added margin above this thing. And then padding on the inside, if I change the padding, something super dramatic, you can see that is on the inside of this section and it is giving you padding up here. I would say the most frequent thing that people do is they reduce padding because they want it to look really good on mobile, which we'll talk about mobile optimization in a moment. But you might bring this down to 0, for example. That might be something you want to do stylistically. And so there's where you can adjust the padding and margin. And that is us looking at doing it on a section level, but each and every component, this is the second column of a row, it also has its own padding. Left and right padding can be very, very useful on mobile. If you've ever looked at a website and you think, why does the text go to almost virtually the edge of the screen? I don't like the way that looks. That's your left and right padding, which can be very, very useful. So you can set these in any way you want to. I'm pretty big on symmetry. So if we did that right there. The padding around an element, same thing. It's under the styles tab. You can choose the padding. So if I brought this bottom down here, I can add an additional gap. If I want it to be super tight on it, I can add this as no padding at all. And so that's the way it works. And one of the things is if you're reducing padding down to 0, sometimes it means you can't access the layer behind it. Again, why the layers tab is super useful. If you're trying to get rid of all padding, always start at the smallest element first. So if I'm trying to shrink everything inward to say maybe this main headline, I'm going to start with the padding on the main headline. And then I'm going to move my way outward. I'm going to go, okay, what about this columns padding, right? What about the section padding? So that's something I wanted to bring to your attention. I feel like that's often overlooked, but padding can drastically affect the style of a landing page. Okay. So, and then more so, there's other nuances here. Like even for the text themselves, you might think like there's too much room in between these two lines. That's not padding. That is under general, and that's your line height. And you can see it right here is in your line height. And so you could even bring this down. You could make it 0.9, for example, and they can just squeeze right into each other. So there's a lot of flexibility here with how things are spaced out. And mostly it does come down to an understanding of padding. This is just one of those nuances with text where you can understand that you can also do things with line height. Cool. Declan, what do you think? Any questions so far? Should I just keep going on kind of this road?
I'm loving it. I would just implore anyone at all, again, during this video, if you do have questions, to drop them down below because we're going over a lot of stuff and we can obviously help you further by answering your questions. But I love what I'm seeing. Yeah, keep going through. Let's keep kind of diving into this because this is definitely going to be, bar none, hands down, the most in-depth website tutorial available. So let's keep plowing right through it.
Cool. Okay. So we talked about images already. I'm just going to revisit one more thing you can do with images because we talked about with a brand new image. So let's just find an image here, this little sushi image. You have options to pull from Canva. You have options to pull from Google Drive. You have options to pull from stock photography. So if I went to Unsplash and I searched for something, sushi related, It's going to give us all of these options here as well. And you also have the ability to create with AI. And so I can write something, right? Let's just say dog eating sushi. I'm just going to do something random. And then I want it to be, I don't know, dreamlike. And then I'm going to generate this example. So you could obviously go to ChatGPT or use, I think like Gemini is probably one of the better image generation models, right? With their nano banana. But like that's adorable. So now you've created AI within High Level. You don't even have to go download it elsewhere. You've just got this and now you can use it. So I can click continue on there. Content AI. There it is.
Look at that.
So those are also actually worth mentioning on the images here is this is your media library and you can also organize by folders. So it looks like the system actually created this folder, but you can organize by folders. So when you are, building a site for a client and you have testimonial screenshots, create a testimonials folder, keep yourself organized. It really does make a difference as you grow. Keep a logos folder, keep a headshots folder, keep a team photos folder, right? I even have folders for things like email graphics. When I'm doing my marketing emails, what kind of images did I put in those emails and kind of keeping those organized on a folder level. You can create folders right here, give them a name, and then that way you can organize. And if you ever want to move something into a folder, you can click over here and you can move it into that folder. So that's generally speaking how images work. Now on the image styling, you do have options. You can style these by changing. A lot of times I'll have people say, like my logo's too big or this image is too big. You can actually adjust width right here. So as an auto example, it's basically making this the width of this container for the element, right? And so as an auto width, you're pulling up that 100% of that. If I move this down to like, let's say 222 pixels, now it's smaller. I think one thing that throws people off is that they'll try and do width and height and it'll make it funky. Like if I put a different, like that squeezed the photos. So just leave height blank. You're just asking it for it to update the width. You can actually just switch this back to auto. Now it keeps the right aspect ratio. And so if I want to double this, right, I can do 444. If I want it to be the full width of whatever container it's in, then I'll just go back to auto. You can see it stretches to the edge of here. And then one thing, like let me pull in an example of an image that, let me see, let me pull in an example of an image that we can kind of mess with that has a transparent background. So a lot of designers when it comes to images, and this goes back to padding, is well, now he's floating, right?
Yeah.
So this looks weird because there's this gap between the bottom of this, row and then this image right here. So that's what I was talking about. You start with the smallest element first. So I'm going to go into the styles of this element right here, and I'm going to remove all bottom padding. And then you're going, okay, but there's still a gap between the bottom of this row and this element. That's where I'm going to go into the next section. I'm going to go into this column and make sure there's no bottom. There is none. Now I'm going to go into the row itself. There's 20 pixels here that if we get rid of these, now we've got our dog sitting at the bottom of the section.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
This is the weirdest example.
Yeah.
It's like mouth-watering sushi and it's a golden retriever. But does that make sense?
100%. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah, definitely. You see that all the time. Massive gaps constantly across the website. And I can just tell I'm like, beginner design this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's how you do that. And you can notice that we've removed all bottom padding from this so that this image sits nicely at the bottom here. But also this button, right? And everything around this button still has padding so that it's not squishing up against the bottom of this row, right? So that's kind of an overview on images. And I think unless there's no other questions on images, drop them in the comments if there are. But that's really kind of everything we talked about. We also talked about Google Drive imports as well, and then Unsplash, etc. So let's talk about video. Obviously, videos on websites or funnel pages, they increase time on page, they decrease bounce rates. They're super important. And there's some really cool things you can do with the videos in High Level. So let's come back in over here to our website, and then let's just look at this image, this video element here. So if you ever needed to add a video, it's under your general elements here, and you can go to video, just search it, and then you can drag in a video. And you can see if we drag in this video, the sizing's a little bit different. So obviously, if you change padding, right? If you change your margins, then you can end up with something that looks more like this, that's stacked up against, even a header bar like this. And then if you click into here, you've got options for your videos. So just like images, you can pull from multiple sources. Same thing here. So you could use a YouTube link, which would be great. If you were building your YouTube channel, you can actually bring in that link and it'll embed, which is awesome because it, to the best of my knowledge, also adds to your view count. So that's really helpful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much so.
You can use Vimeo, which I don't use because I think it's quite expensive for hosting over time. So I'm a YouTube galley. I think Wistia can get kind of pricey too. But if you have these tools already and video libraries, you can pull them in. You can do custom embed codes for a video if you're using some other third-party tool like Tela or Dub or whatever. And then you can use HTML5, which I'm not hugely familiar with. Hosted video is my second go-to. So I typically do YouTube if I want the YouTube views. I do hosted video so that it hosts in HighLevel because it'll actually track watches, because HighLevel is hosting this video now. It'll actually, you're able to set automations to say, did somebody watch 25% or more of this video? Did somebody make it to the 16-minute mark of this video? And you can run automation based off of it. So hosted videos are fantastic and give you a whole lot of options. And so you would obviously choose the video file and then you choose your thumbnail. So let's just pick a random, looks like there's one already uploaded, but you just upload your own video file, MP4, and then select a video thumbnail. So I don't know, I'm just going to pick a random thumbnail here. And then now you have this video that's going to be on the page. And here are some of the video settings that I wanted to go over. Autoplay. I tend to turn this off because it will start playing with no sound, and autoplay doesn't always work on mobile. And if you're talking about, 65 to 70% of people viewing your website on a mobile phone, I just think that the experience is not as nice with that on. But to each their own, you may have reasons why you want it to be auto playing because it's flashy, and if they'll click on it, they can get audio. So that's totally your call. Show the enable sound button is for that autoplay purpose, so that it's even more in their face that this video does have sound. It's just not playing because of some of the restrictions on devices. So those two things go hand in hand. Looping, I think, is pretty obvious. If you have a video, especially a video background, that's something that you can do in this system as well. You can loop it, right? Just make sure that the size is relatively small. Otherwise, your backgrounds are going to take forever to load. It's going to slow down your site. But we can talk about that because the section itself, you can actually add backgrounds, background gradients, background colors, background images, background videos. And so I think loop would be an option for that. And then, so let's just say we turned off autoplay, but you can allow people to play or pause the video. I would say 100%. You can allow speed control. So if people want to put it on, 1.5 or 2x, they can listen to it fast. You can show pending time, right? And then you can show for the ability for people to pop it into full screen. Like these are all pretty obvious. This one is a really cool feature, which is picture in picture mode. And so if you turn this on, as people scroll down that page, they will be seeing your video. It'll stay in the bottom corner, right?
Oh,
And then,
that's so cool.
did you know that?
No. I know you can do that on WordPress. Like it follows them. It's like sticky, but I didn't know you could do
Yeah.
that here.
So I love this little eyeball icon to preview it. It opens the page in a new tab. And so now, where is that video? We've got a lot of random sections on here. If I click play on this section here, on this video, and it starts playing, and as I scroll, I think we might be over top of it. Oh, this video is also it's too short. It's too short. It was like 1 second. But if you had a 15-minute video or so here, this will actually stay there as you scroll.
That's amazing.
See if we can grab a longer video. I don't know what I have in this. Maybe this is something that's longer. And I'm not even sure what this video is. So we'll see. About to experience it together. So if I click play, whoops, when in doubt, refresh. Now we have a longer video, which is so random. So, and there's so many random things on here, but if I click play on this, it's now, as I scroll past that video, popping up in the
Yay!
bottom right corner.
That Paige, that is so handy for funnels and stuff or
Yes.
things. The video is paramount on
Yes.
the list of things. I mean, that's like that feature alone potentially could make you a ton of extra money.
Yes.
That's fire right there.
Yes. So really great for a video sales letter of you talking through something while people are scrolling. So this is the most rando collection of things
You
I've
got
ever.
carrots, you got dogs eating sushi, you have bulldozers. It's really quite random.
Okay. I didn't want us to take too much time waiting on a video file to upload, so that I picked whatever was in there.
It was worth it though. It was worth it.
So that was the picture-in-picture mode.
So if you like building websites and you're getting value out of this video, but you also want to make money with websites, like selling websites, well, I have something amazing for you and it's free. It's a 30-day free trial link of High Level right down below. But when you sign up with that, you're getting access to my entire private community that's going to help you sell websites. So I'm talking a private community full of winners. I'm talking trainings, okay, on High Level. More importantly, how to get clients, how to sell. Okay, we even got sales scripts, ad prompts to help you with that. But more importantly, we have up to 8 live coaching calls you can attend for free every single week. And these calls are geared towards helping you sell High Level. I'm telling you, there's no group like this. There's no community like this. This is the most hand-holding you're going to get anywhere. You can even message me up here for free anytime you want. And the whole point of this entire community is to help you master High Level and sell it. And as you see here, I mean, you can even just click these. It's free. The calls are free. All of this is free. And you can join and you can be part of it right down below. So if that interests you, either drop a comment down below or just click the link and check it out because I think you're really going to like it. And again, no one does what I do. And if you don't believe me, just click the link and you'll see.
And then this one is also often overlooked, which is generate leads from a video. And so you can toggle this on and you can say a better example would be an actual video sales letter. And you can say like, at the, I don't know, that's an hour mark, at the 3-minute mark and 13-second mark, I said something so compelling. I want to pop up an overlay and you can choose which form you want to overlay. I'm going to have to, for our example, because this is such a really, really short video. There's not even minutes. There's seconds. Let's do the just to make sure we capture it. Let's do the 2-second mark. And then you can put any form together. So separately outside of the website builder, there's the form builder and you can build forms. And let's just choose one that's in here because it's my demo account. And so you can basically have this form pop up and they have to fill it out in order to finish the video. A really good example would be, let's say you have like a full-blown masterclass and you have this pre-recorded, is you could hit them at a very compelling part where you say, and also, by the way, like for an example for me, it's like, I also have a winning website designer proposal template. And as I'm talking about it, I can pop up this form and I can say, would you like my free template? Just give me your name and email. Now I'm generating leads from a video that's pre-recorded on a page. And you get 2 options. You can allow the person to actually close the form, which makes the form optional. So they can go, nah, I don't want it, but they want to keep watching the video because you're building more trust by them watching that video. Or you can make it mandatory. And it's like, you have to fill in some details to let me know that you're a serious person before I give you the juice or the details on the back end. And so let's see what this looks like. Let's go ahead and click save. And then let's refresh this page right here.
Do we need to switch view? Should we switch view for this?
No, this is actually going to pop up right over the video player. So I'm not even going to scroll. I'm going to play this video. And then you see that little padlock?
Yo, that is so cool. They really, I mean, they upgraded the shit out of this.
Yeah. So to keep watching, fill out the form below, right?
And that's Paige. That's a perfect way to have like a lead magnet on your website. I mean, it could be something like you could embed on a blog form. It could be like how to SEO optimize your site for free, no gatekeeping. And then obviously, we have this little form as opposed to like the normal VSL where they don't get to see anything. They get that little taste.
Yep.
It's like, well, I might as well just put it in and continue.
Yep. And you can see, and then that extra toggle, we said, well, make this optional. And so that's where this little X button comes on. They can keep watching the video. But if you made that mandatory, they actually have to fill in something, click submit, and then it continues playing the video.
It's amazing.
And if you want, so also too, it's a little bit of a little bit of a pro tip. this by default has that this is sort of like above the form. This is the form itself. And you can add inside the form builder, you could add a headline and a subheadline. So I would recommend that. So then it explains even more. It's like, let me know where to send you my free proposal template. And you add that into the form builder. And so this pop-up will actually have a headline on it and a subheadline and then the form fields.
Genius.
Yeah. Yeah. Very underutilized, but very powerful tool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think the vast majority of people don't even know this exists.
Probably not. Yeah. So, and it's killer. It's super fun that way. You could use this. So the thing is this is a setting for the hosted videos in high level. So when you upload them to the media library, but if you had a fantastic YouTube video, maybe like the one we're doing right now, and we said, hey, do you want this extra thing for free? You would just download it from YouTube and make it a hosted video so that it gives you that feature to create a lead generation tool on your website. So that's how that works. That was me talking about gated. That's what I meant by gated is those are the settings for a hosted video that lets you put a lead generation form right as they're watching it.
Amazing.
Cool. Declan, I'm pumped. I got to show you something you haven't even seen yet.
No, I'm serious. I'm not even gassing you up. Like, I'm being dead serious. There's some of this stuff I did not know existed. And this is perfect because not only am I going to make other videos on this, I know that so many other advanced people are going to benefit from this. Because obviously the beginners, this is going to help a ton. But I know so many advanced people where because they're so busy, they don't even catch up with the certain features. Yeah. So this has got golden nuggets for everybody. I mean, this is a highly, highly valuable video we're doing.
Nice. Nice. Okay, cool. So we talked about video. Let's talk about some of the more, this is sort of intermediate here, and then we'll go to some advanced ninja moves. But intermediate, let's talk about row width, hiding sections, negative padding, animations, and mobile optimization. So, all right, let's talk about row width and what do I mean by that? Let me just first get rid of some of this stuff because it's kind of in our way and we're scrolling too much. Okay. So that was kind of the main section there. Let's add I'm just going to pull from these pre-built sections just so you can see, me doing this. Let me just pull this right here. Okay. What do I mean by row width? Sometimes in designer world, you want rows to expand the entire width. Like you literally want it to touch the sides of the screen. And so you can do that by going to the main section settings. And it's this right here. It's this little toggle. A lot of people don't know it's here. Allow rows to take entire width. And I toggle that on. Let me scroll out, zoom out here. It means that this row is now actually going the full width of the container, and you can modify it from there. You can go, no, I just want it to be this wide. I want it to be 100% of the page. This would allow you to do some looks like, for example, if you wanted this image to fill that whole space, we're just going to go into the styles. We're going to remove all this padding, right? I'm definitely going to get rid of this padding. This is why I start smallest to largest. And then I'm going to go to the column. I'm going to get rid of this padding. I'm going to go to this area. I'm getting rid of that padding, right? And then inside of the section itself, I'm going to make sure that there's no padding. Where's the padding? I think it's because of the style of this photo. I'm going to change this photo over to our dog eating sushi. And let's see, we need this is also the size here. It needs to go to auto, so it's pulling full width. So now we have this section where this image touches the side of the screen. So if I save this and preview it for you guys, just refresh this. You can see this goes over to the edge of the screen. So just different design stylistic choices that you have to go into the section and turn the width to allow full row. Some people get frustrated because by default, if I have a brand new section, so let's just create a brand new section. And then we're going to do, this, I'm sorry. By default, people think when they see the sections as full width, and then they add a one column row, that the row is touching, but normally sometimes it's not. If this toggle isn't on, it creates like some extra padding within padding. And so a little bit more of an intermediate move to show you how you can stretch things all the way to the edges. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the guide because I wanted to see what was next. Hiding things. So this can be really useful if you want to hide things on different devices. And so to show you that, first of all, we're going to start looking at mobile optimization. So up here, you can see the desktop mode and the mobile mode. So if I'm looking at the mobile mode, right, and I want to hide something. So for example, maybe I don't want this I don't know, it's just a random example. Maybe I don't want Meet the Founder to be displayed on mobile mode. I can actually click an element, I can click an entire section, right? You might have something that's designed that you really only want to be on desktop. And so you can go into styles and scroll down and it's on visibility. So this way you can actually turn this off by unchecking that. It no longer lives on mobile, but on desktop, it's there. And see, we change back to mobile, it's gone. That little subheading that says meet the founder and CEO.
And that's also perfect too, just to tweak certain things on mobile where it just doesn't make sense. But you have desktop. That's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really nice to be able to do it that way. And it also means that if you wanted, things to be kind of rearranged differently, you can duplicate certain elements. You can show those only on a mobile screen or only on a desktop. So that's hiding things. And like I said, you can hide any of these aspects. Like if I just want to hide this whole first column, or let's just say I don't want this puppy eating sushi to be on a mobile phone. Now you can see over on mobile, it's just the text itself.
Yeah.
So that's how that works on visibility. Now, let's talk about some of the nuances of mobile mode, which I think is really awesome that has improved significantly. Mobile allows you to make changes to thing, and I think so often one of the biggest things you're going to want to change is padding. Because you got to think about like scroll fatigue. People get so fatigued scrolling through the mobile version of a website if there's huge amount of white space that they're having to just like,
Gosh. Oh yeah.
work their thumbs out to scroll through, right? And so what's cool about this is we can change the padding in one place without affecting it everywhere. I'm just gonna have to like wave my mouse. But you see how there's a toggle right here and it's got the two different devices. It's got desktop and mobile.
Mhm.
So what this indicates is that this is currently only changing settings on mobile. And this is really powerful because if I change this 20 pixels here down to 0, right? Gives me a little bit less spacing, and then you're like, "But there's still spacing." That's because there's spacing on this row, there's spacing on this column, so you kinda go in here and you're like, "Okay, I don't want any of that, and then I don't want any of that." The cool thing is when you see a mobile icon, you're not changing it on desktop. So see how snug this is now at the top of this row? But
Yeah.
you go back over to the desktop mode and you still have all of this beautiful padding. That's because now you can see the padding here has 40, but then if we're switching back over to the mobile view, that padding goes down to 0. So this can be really, really helpful. And this goes for anything that you see that has the independent icons because not everything does. There's no icon next to border. And so if I add a border around this section, let's just do like a whole, I don't know, bottom border at 3 pixels, right? If I add a border around this section, it doesn't have that little icon differentiator, and so it's added both places. And so now we can see there's a border around this thing in both places. But the ones that do have the little icon differentiator, you can do a lot of really cool stuff with it because you can change it in one place without changing it elsewhere. So that comes down to padding. Like if I kind of toggle these down, alignment, right? And so, for example, if we had a button here, I think this is kind of a common one. So let's grab a button. This looks kind of weird on desktop like this because of how everything is kind of left centered. And so I will come over here and do, first of all, under styles, I'm going to add just a little bit of margin to give me some room on top of this button, maybe 20 right here. And then on the alignment, let's go back over to the alignment. Maybe I want it left on desktop because I think that looks better. But then maybe on a mobile phone, toggle over there, I want that button right here to be centered. And now you can see it's centered on mobile and it's left aligned on desktop. So the other thing, like even for example, fonts can be a huge thing for mobile optimization because maybe it looks great on a desktop, but it's not quite right on a mobile phone, right? Especially when you're talking about a section such as this right here. Your whole goal is for them to see everything above the fold on mobile. So if we go over to mobile on this, it's like, okay, we got to get rid of some of this margin here. Maybe, on mobile, we don't even want to see this thing. And then we're going to shrink some of these margins, right? And then fonts themselves, that's another one where it has the little icon next to it, right? So border is going to change on both places, but alignment will only change on mobile. And then if you're on the general tab, you can change the font size. And it's also got the little mobile icon. So you're sort of glancing to look. And when you see this icon next to something, that indicates you're only making this change on one device, not both.
Interesting.
So if I change this down to like 22, it's now 22 on mobile. But if I switch over to the desktop view, it's 72 pixels as the font size. So that's one way that you can do mobile optimization, because you might also, maybe, I don't know, font weight for some reason you want it to be super, super bold over here on desktop. And keep in mind, if it's custom fonts, depending on the font itself, sometimes font weight works. It says available, right? Depending on the selected font family. So sometimes that's really obvious. Sometimes it's not working, and that's why. So it just depends on your font family. But yeah, you can change things at an independent level. And so line height too, right? So I'm just going to do something dramatic here, like a 2. I don't know why you would ever want it to look like this, but maybe I want it to look super spaced out here. But then on mobile, I'm like, man, I don't want them to scroll very much at all. I'm now dropping this back down. Right. And so you can see the differences between those line heights. So that's what's really powerful. It wasn't always like this. I think a lot of people felt frustrated by mobile optimization because what people used to do, and you even did it when you were building in WordPress, was you would duplicate entire sections. You would design one for a desktop. You would design the
It take forever.
forever. It took forever. And then you'd forget. You'd go change a headline and it would only change on the desktop version. Somebody's texting you that, the landing page on mobile has the wrong headline on it. And so this has prevented all of that. So please spare yourself from creating different designs on mobile and desktop by using what's here for you to optimize.
I love it. I love it.
Let's talk about negative padding. So I sort of talked about mobile optimization. Let's talk about negative padding and animations. So negative padding. I hear a lot where people, they're talking about like how the they want to build on Show It or Squarespace because they're like, look at these beautiful sites. You can't make this happen. And normally I'm like, you can build anything.
Yeah.
You can build anything on high level. Like, what is it that you're saying that you can't build? And why stylistically are you acting like a different builder is going to outperform this? And almost always it's because of overlapping elements. And so I'm going to show you that because we talked about padding a lot, but we haven't talked about negative padding. And so let's just add another image here. Let's just add another picture. Again, there's a lot of elements now, so sometimes I'll just search to speed myself up. And test out some of the elements too. There's logo sliders. There's all kinds of really cool stuff. And so let me just pull up an image here. This is so rando, but let's just pull up this little image. We've gone from dogs to sushi, but let's go to the styles. And so we talked a lot about padding. So see how there's this padding here within the orange element box. There's this 10 pixel padding on top. Let's just go ahead and remove that. Now they're touching, right? And you can see the rest of this padding is kind of creating that extra little gap here. And then let me just for kind of like showing you stylistically of things that I see on other sites, like let's just make this, you can choose the actual pixel or I could do a percentage. So let's make this 50% of this area, or let's do 75 because that's a little small. And then negative padding under styles, right? If I do a margin here, some people don't know this, is that you can go negative. Now this is overlap. And it only takes us to -50, but you can actually type in whatever you want. And so now these two things are overlapping.
That's so interesting that you say that the reason they believe that it's not properly functional or powerful is because of this one negative editing. That's
Right.
so, or negative padding. That's so interesting.
Yeah. So now I just added, so these have negative padding, and then you can see I just changed the kind of like the dimension of them. And now like this is something you see on another site. So, I mean, you could create, especially for images, like you could kind of create this in Canva and have just one image here, but this is also a way that you can kind of style things. So when you see in some cases, maybe a section is overlapping, right? Another section. It's like, I mean, I guess I'd have to like kind of pull up an example here, but you're like, wow, that shape is overlapping that other section. This is how that's done. So first of all, if I take this border off, this be another example of how to do it. And I remove, right? The thing is, you just have to recognize you're going from smaller elements all the way upward. So I would take out, see, so there's no upper padding or margin on this. So I would just go to the next biggest one. It's like, okay, there's some here. And then I would go to the next biggest one and I would go, okay, there's some here, right? And there's some here. Get rid of that. We're just kind of bringing everything to the top. And then I'm just like, okay, there's some there. And then maybe now I want this image itself to have negative margin on the top. Now it's overlapping this. Can you see this gray? It's like overlapping that section above it.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like outside of the section. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then obviously, of course, you always want to see how this is performing on mobile, because that's the thing is if you do too much negative padding, you're getting an eyeball on it for desktop. But now this too much negative padding is pulling this on top of the button. So that's what's cool is that this padding doesn't have to apply on mobile for you to get that same look on desktop. So I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it
I'll
does.
change the background color. This is an image on the background. This is what I was talking about, how you can add in a section. You can also add background videos, colors. They also added gradients. So we'll just add this kind of like dramatic gradient. You can see it like maybe a start color of something really obnoxious. And then that's how you can see now this is overlapping. So a little bit more intermediate, but I wanted you to be able to see, just that looked better. Okay. I wanted you to be able to see how that worked with negative padding. Animations. So animations, this was also kind of a big complaint early on, was people were like, well, nothing like kind of pops onto the screen like it does with, these other builders. Well, they built that. So that's a tab we haven't really been to yet, but this is the animations tab. And you can set animations on photos, text, buttons, like whatever you can think of, any of the elements, you can add on these animations. You can just like tap on them to see what it looks like. So that's, going in from the right. And then let's say maybe we want to bring this one in to do something else, like bring it in to bounce up from the top, right? And then we can save these. And then you'll see now when we load this page, when I hit refresh on it, that is actually the cutest little dog eating sushi. Let me hit refresh on it. It actually will animate as we scroll down this page. So we're coming down here, see that scroll in, see that bounce up.
Now, what does that do for mobile?
Mobile's pretty much going to follow the same kinds of principles. We'd actually need to pull this up on a mobile phone for you to be seeing those animations. But unless a mobile carrier or the mobile load of that website has a reason to kind of like nix those animations, the animations actually do appear on mobile as well.
Wow. Okay.
So, and you can do, like a lot of people will do button animations, for example, and you can do multiple different ones now on buttons. You can do an entrance and you can do a hover. So a lot of people will do kind of like an elevate on hover. And so you see now when I'm hovering over it, it's jumping up. Now on a mobile, that's a little bit different because a hover state is kind of tough. They don't know if you're hovering your finger over it or not versus your cursor.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people I see too, if they're like really serious about you clicking a button, you guys have probably all seen this before. Okay.
Boom.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of animations over in this section here. And then at the bottom, you can see the infinite loop ones. So a lot of people will use this sort of like, I'm just going to have the button here. Let me click off of the button so you can see it. I'm just gonna have this button start rocking the entire time so that it captures your attention. And so that's
can you put it on website view so they can see it bigger?
Yeah, let's do it. So let's just refresh this page right here. And so now you can see the get started button is rocking back and forth. It's on an infinite animation loop. And so you can animate anything,
Quick question, Paige. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
When would you recommend people do that? Because I get a lot of questions like that. Like, when do they go all out and make everything look alive and popping, or do they not? Like, what is the design principle when someone should use these tools? Because you see some people do it, and it's like their site looks like it's going to give you a panic attack. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, what's sort of the general consensus on when to add this and how much do we add?
Yeah, yeah, your Panic at the Disco, exactly. It's like, "Whoa, oh my god, okay, I'm getting dizzy just scrolling this website." So yeah, my general recommendation is, because it's twofold. One is it can give people a headache because it's like, "What's happening?" Like, everything's, like, flying on. So minimal is better. Minimal is definitely better. And so I'd like to tend on just pretty much sticking to buttons and images for the most part. You don't want every single headline just, like, zooming into the page. It's really discombobulating. And then number 2 is, if you're not careful, if you animated literally every single element, right? People, as they're scrolling, if they're scrolling too fast, they're gonna think that the page isn't loading properly. And so that's also really important. So if we animated, let's just say we animate text, we really want it to be incredibly simple. That's even too much in my opinion, right? Like a good fade can be nice. It gives that little subtle experience of there, being some movement on this page that's not overwhelming. And so I wouldn't also animate this one and the bullet points. We'll have everything fly through because it does get a little bit much. So this is just my design advice after doing this for a long time. But now you have something that has just a little bit more movement without being over the top. And I would also use infinite loop sparingly. I do love the hover overlays, but I would use infinite loop like pretty sparingly because you don't want every single button just like flashing at people. It's almost a little desperate to some degree. But yeah, that's a good question because I think people can overdo it for sure. But now, your page has a little bit more life to it than just a static page. And so like even that bounce in was a little bit over the top in my opinion. But I do love like a good fade in and that sort of thing.
I love it. I love it.
So let's talk about, these are the finishing touches to the site. Gosh, there's so many more things we can talk about too, actually, in terms of this builder. But these are some of the finishing touches that you're going to use to get the site in really good shape as you're building it out. So let's talk about so obviously right now, everything that is you build it, which is really nice, it already gives you preview links. So back in the day, you used to have to like create a staging area in order to show this to a client. If you're okay with, if you're a website designer and you're building these for clients, if you're okay with them knowing that High Level, I build transparently so they know that High Level is backing all of their stuff, because I want them to be excited about the fact that they're backed by a multi-million dollar company that's, supporting millions of businesses. I'm just their agency of record, somebody building custom for them. So it gives you these previews already, but when you're ready, you want to connect the domain. So that's one of those steps to go ahead and purchase this live. And so you're going to go through and walk through connecting a domain. And I can go through those details if we need, but for the most part, let's come back to that and we can go in more depth on that in a moment. Once you publish it on the domain, that was the next step kind of here to talk about, is a lot of people will go, well, where's that favicon? If you don't, do you know what that is? Like the favicon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the little picture.
Yeah. So like this little black globe, this little like white, clear, transparent golden globe, like these are my favicons. And to set them up on a website, when you publish this website, it is in the actual settings of the website themselves. So we're going to go back. And this is that website, right? It's a little bit of a hodgepodge for us, just showing you the things about the builders. Under settings tab right here, this is where it gives you the ability. Well, first of all, you can rename it, you can change the path on it. And this is where you can add your favicon URL. For whatever reason, they still haven't added a button to click here and open your media library. So the way to get this URL is to come into your media storage over here. So I'm going to just open this up in a new tab. But if you remember, that media storage library is where all of our folders were, and all of the videos and all of the images and things we can create with AI. This was inside the website builder. It's the menu item on the main platform in High Level. And so you can get there and access this. And this is where you would upload something like a favicon. And favicon really should just be created as a super small image, something like 150 pixels by 150 pixels, or even like 95 by 95. Make it a square, and then you can upload it. I'm just going to take one here if that's cool with you guys. Let's just add this little AI person. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click on the 3 dots and you're going to do get link. So let's pretend that was your favicon. And so now over here on the website settings, you're putting your favicon, you're just pasting in that URL. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So the rest of the settings here when you launch your site, so again, we're going to talk about connecting a domain a little bit, is heading and tracking codes. So this is what I was talking about, is a site-wide code. This is typically in the header is your meta codes, your Google Analytics code, maybe a Google Search Console code, like whatever kinds of main tracking codes you need, those go here. And so that's where you're going to add that in. Body tracking codes tend to be like totally different things. I don't use a lot of them, but Declan, I don't know if you have examples of body tracking codes that you've used.
No, that's mostly just header tracking.
Yeah. So, and the unique tool that you're on, let's say I want to track with Google Analytics or Meta, it normally tells you put this in the head, put it in between the, sort of bracket head part of the website. That's where this is. So you can just paste that all in here. And then these settings down here, chat widget, we'll talk about that in a moment, but this would allow you to actually add that website chat widget, which is super cool because you don't need a third-party tool to do it. You can just do it here in high level. Payment mode, if you were sandboxing or testing payments, you could put something in test mode. By default, it's on live, and you can see this would be if you had an actual checkout page on that website, which is super awesome. And then by default, they have image optimization turned on and JavaScript optimization. This is important because I'll even see established and experienced web designers pulling in a picture that could be printed on a billboard in downtown LA, and they'll put it up as a digital image in their website, and it will slow their website down because it's 4,000 pixels wide out of like their awesome Sony camera, but it's not optimized for web. Because on a website, the largest you would ever really need an image with would be like 2,000 pixels if it's like full width. So you upload something twice as large. What this is doing in the background is it's optimizing it so that they load faster. So it's done on your behalf. I will say there have been times it's gotten so much better over the years, but there were times when I would come and turn this off because I had already done the proper sizing process before I uploaded them. And then I was finding that it was over optimizing mine and making them grainy. But they've improved this to the point where most people don't even know that this is being done for them. And it just delivers everything to look crisp, but also be a size that can load quickly. So this is all about like page speed right here. Same thing here. I would leave these turned on because they do a really good job. And then GDPR compliant fonts. This really doesn't ever feel like it applies to me in the United States, but this is a very serious thing in Europe. So if you know that you need that, that's where this toggle is. Cool. All right. So let's talk about, we talked about that. We talked about, I want to talk about custom values and CSS codes and how you can add those. This is like pretty advanced stuff, but it can be really, really powerful. So a custom value inside of high level is basically a little piece of information that applies to the entire account that you can add into the website builder. So I actually have an example of this that I can pull up if that'll help. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So this is a snapshot that I made for recurring events. And so it's built based on custom values. And what custom values can really do is it can allow you to create templates of websites and then sell them over and over again to multiple clients. So if you serve the same industry, for example, and you create this awesome roofing website and you wanted to not have to go in and click around and change everything, this will allow you to change something in one place and then have it change everywhere on all these pages. So the cool thing, and I've done an entire training on custom values. So if you need that video, just comment below and I'll make sure that to get it over to Declan and send it to you, because I've gone in depth on things you can do with custom values. But you can use colors. You can actually change background colors by just putting in a new value one place and it'll change everywhere. You can do images. So you can see, for example, like a brand logo can be pulled in through a custom value. So if I create a duplicate of this website, but instead of that image being uploaded everywhere that it exists, it's actually pulling from whatever value is in this background setting. I can then quickly update these values and I have a brand new website with somebody else's brand or company on them. So this is cool for templating, and you can do all kinds of stuff like words, dates, etc.
Would you mind doing just a quick explainer with a picture? Because I know that I created a really great video on this, and I remember the first time I created, I didn't do it, and people were like, oh, it's whatever. But when I showed them, they were like, no way. I would just slap 3 images down, Paige, on a website and just quickly show them how it will change in all of the places you have. Because this custom values is like so underutilized and so many people don't know it exists. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah. Let me show off the actual site. So let's take this funnel, for example. Remember, if you've learned the website builder, you've learned the funnel builder. They're the exact same, right? So let's take this funnel page, for example. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of like curly cues, custom events value title. You see that, like custom event value type, right? Custom values event display date. And then, for example, here on this brand, you see how we're used to clicking on this little icon here and uploading something. See how it's actually just pulling in a custom value. So I'll show off what this can look like. And then same thing here. You can also do colors, and you can have colors be a custom value as well. So for example, here, the color of this text right here, if I click on this purple color, and I go to the little pencil icon on what this is, you see where I'm hovering over it and it says custom values, brand color, primary buttons. So what this means is when you create something based on a custom value is you can change it one place and it'll change everywhere. So if we look at, let's just go ahead and preview this. It'll open up in a new tab. If we look at this, this is pulling in those information and pulling in the link to the logo and pulling in a free live masterclass, etc. So if I go into, let's just take the color, for example, so you can see where if I update it one place, it'll update everywhere. So let's say you brought on a new client and their color was not purple, their color was green. Okay. So if I go into the custom values over here, and let's say the primary button color, I edit this. This hex code is for a little purple color. And if I go grab like a green color, I've got like a little color picker thing up here. Let's just take like a random kind of greenish, tealish color, something that looks okay. And then I'm going to grab this hex code and paste it in here and update. We're going to go back to this funnel here and hit refresh. And you're going to watch this button go from purple to green.
Wow.
Automatically, right? And the same thing can be done with these images. So we talked a lot about the media storage. Let's go back to media storage. And let's just pretend like this coffee cup is the brand or is the logo. And I copy the link from the media storage. Right. And I come in over here on custom values and I go to the brand logo. I think it's the brand logo for light backgrounds right here. Let's go ahead and edit this. Paste that in. And so this is how you could have like a general logo, like your brand logo. See that? Refresh it. And now you can see I just changed that logo. So again, examples are if you work in one particular niche and you create like an awesome website template, you can pull text and you can pull images and you can pull colors and you can do all of that through custom values. So a little bit more ninja, but I hope that that made sense, because to me, that's like next level advanced is starting to use custom values. This can be really, really helpful, especially in this example. This is like a recurring event. So every single time your event changes and updates, you're going to want to change and update the time. For example, Thursday, March 5th, you want it to be updated. And I actually did even more ninja moves in this snapshot. AI will actually update to the week following. Like it'll just run automatically and keep updating. So I hope I didn't like lose anybody there on that, because I think it can be a little bit advanced, but custom values are super powerful. Another example of a custom value is, use them in the footer, right? You use them so that each and every time it's pulling the details for that particular customer, and you didn't have to go into the website editor and edit every single thing because it was built with custom values as the foundation. So I hope that makes sense. Cool. Any other questions on that, or you think I went in like reasonably?
That's that was perfect. That went through it.
Yeah, it can kind of feel confusing at first, especially if you're a little bit newer, but just know that they exist.
Yeah.
And a custom value can be updated one place and then updated literally everywhere. And there's a lot of use cases for it, and it can also influence the design as well, which is really nice. So
I think a big thing too, Paige, and you hit it on the head right there when you were talking about how just to know it exists. There's a lot of these features where if you're an advanced person watching this, you'll know and build on your knowledge. If you're a beginner, the awareness is what's going to help a lot of this go smoother. Because when I got started, there wasn't videos like this, Paige. So I ended up not knowing that a ton of things existed, and I had to find through trial and error, where if I just knew that maybe that was in the realm of possibility, through learning and doing the reps, I would have gotten towards that. So at least the people watching are going down the route of being like, okay, this does exist and I can work towards it. So I think it's perfect that we're going through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. Yeah. So it's really good. And I think that's so true too, is knowing it exists. And then also like, don't overwhelm yourself, because I'll have website designers in my community that will ask me like, Paige, like, what are all the custom values I should be thinking of to build out this first website? And I'm like, just build your first website. Like, just get the first thing done, even if it took you all that manual effort. Then it's going to become obvious to you, what if I duplicated this website for 3 more clients? What are some of the things I would want to be custom values, so that duplicating that over time becomes a lot easier and more efficient? And then by the time you scale to 20, 30, 40, 100 clients, you've really got it down pat. But I think sometimes when people try and make things so perfect when they start and so built for scale, they just take the creativity and they suck it right out of themselves, or they get analysis paralysis and they do nothing. So just build your first website, from a template, from pre-built sections, from AI, from scratch, everything we've talked about here. Just get to know the builder first and know that this is an advanced option for you when you're ready. Okay. CSS code can be added inside of the website builder. Let's see. Let's go back into our site builder here for that website with dogs eating sushi. Let's see. So random.
Dump trucks moving rubble.
Yeah, and dump trucks moving around. And then me talking about recurring revenue. Okay. Yeah. And then let's just go in here and let's talk about CSS codes. So if you do want to style something, you can do it. So for example, here, you can go to CSS codes right here and you can paste anything in. And sometimes what you have to do is you actually have to apply that style to something on the page. And typically you have to access, if you go to styles and you scroll down to the bottom, you actually have to create a custom class, because you're not asking for CSS to be modified on literally everything. You're just asking it for one particular thing. So for example, and I use AI. So I'm just going to do something totally random here. I'm just going to screenshot this. And let's open up like ChatGPT. And then, or you can use, Claude obviously is really good at coding, but I'm just going to add in this screenshot that I just took. And I'm going to say, give me CSS code to make the headline rainbow gradient. I don't know. We're just like, I'm coming up with like a random idea to see what it'll come up with so I can show you. And so it'll give you the CSS code right here. And then, oh, it's giving me like a bunch of options. Optional enhanced. Okay. It's giving me like a million options. We're only going to need one of these. Okay, great. So right here, the CSS code I can copy. And you see this is actually that selector is this thing's called rainbow headline. So I'll do two things. One, I'll go over here to the, where's my CSS codes? Highlight or hover over them when in doubt. So I'm going to paste in this for the rainbow headline, and then it's going to need to know how, like what to apply this to. And so if I save that, then under this custom class for this headline, yeah. So I don't think I need the dot. I just need to, I want to take rainbow headline with the hyphen. There we go. So rainbow headline, right? And then it should be pulling in that rainbow look. And then I'm just going to save it, and we're going to look at the front end of this. So now, wow, that's like an animated rainbow headline. Did you guys see that?
That's actually super cool. That's really cool.
So this is how you can go to AI and ask
Wait
it.
a minute. Wait, hold up. So I have to just interrupt you because this is so profound. I only thought with a lot of custom CSS and HTML, that was added as standalone things. You edited the exact template or what is it called? Element that was already on the page. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, interesting. Okay. Cause I thought for the longest time with this in general, it was adding stuff completely. I didn't know you could use it to strictly use it on the page.
Right.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So like, for example, that didn't apply to all headings. So see, hey, I'm name. It didn't apply it to that one because if we go down to the, hey, I'm name, like, well, I mean, I'm Paige, right? Or I'm a cute little dog with sushi. That one didn't apply it there because under styles, we didn't put rainbow header as that style. So if I put, you got to remove the dot and then you got to hit the enter button. If I now make this rainbow headline and save this, you're going to be able to see now that also the hey, I'm Paige now is also rainbow style. So you can choose, but not every single, it didn't apply to every single header on the page. It just applied to the ones that we said we wanted it to apply to.
Wow.
So pretty cool, right? So
this, I love the in-depth. I'm going to say it again. Like we're really going over everything. And there's stuff we're not even going over. I love the fact that it's like, if you're watching this, I mean, you're literally getting all of the things you could possibly want with this.
And then you can like, okay, I don't want to pull that up, but what if give me an example of like a really cool website, like, I don't know, maybe like apple.com or something.
Yeah, great. They always have really cool stuff.
Let's see if they have anything interesting. So
I think you click the product, like click the MacBook.
Yeah, let's click the MacBook Pro. Let's see if something's going on.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
Right. So another thing you could do is like, oh, I want to borrow this. Like, wow, how did they style this like thing over here? Right. And so, I mean, you can ask, you could either take apple.com MacBook Pro, or you can take a screenshot. Right. And then I can go into, this is all I did was I said, okay, like I would say something like,
I didn't even
you see that button at the bottom right, how it's styled and it's got all the text inside of it. Can you write CSS code for me to create this on my website? Right. And you're just asking AI, like, look at this screenshot, take that little thing down there in the bottom corner. Right. And then it's like, oh, yeah. That's basically this pill container thing with text and blue. So you can go to any website you see and you're like, this is a little bit unique and different. I want to add it on. And then you just come in here and you get the CSS code, go apply it, right, and do what I just did to that headline. This is a little bit more in depth because this is like like a pill element instead of just, you know, the font text. But you can do the same thing here. You're like, I love the coloring of this and how they're like how this is. Can you recreate it? And in that case too, you could actually just give now AI can search through websites. You can say, hey, can you go on this website and look for the headline called "Fast Runs in the Family," and then give me CSS code to actually recreate this on my website, and then it'll give you that code.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have any excuse to build a bad website now, do you?
That's right. That's right. So you can do all kinds of things. And then also too, you know, we didn't talk about this a lot, but this is a little bit more nuanced, is you can also add, embedded elements as well. So under the add elements button, I can also go and I can pull in an element called code, and you can totally embed something out of code. So this is gonna be totally random, but I'm just gonna do something totally random. Create a calculator for me that calculates the amount of happiness that a golden retriever will have if it eats a certain amount of sushi. Like so random. And then once it builds this calculator, I would say actually Manus is really great at this. It'll design something really beautiful. But once it creates the calculator, you go, can I get the embed, the HTML embed code for it? And then you can go put it into your website. So it looks like this already just kind of knew. So it's like building out this calculator on the golden retriever sushi happiness. Um, right? No sushi. Golden retriever is emotionally prepared though. So this is building out this sort of, this is a TypeScript, and I would probably just ask it for, can you give me the embed HTML code for this calculator. So we do this often on, like, for example, I mean, this is a ridiculous example, right? But we'll do this for our real estate clients. Like we've got a client that's doing a brokerage where you can see how much you're going to save, right? Any financial services, anything you can think of, and you're thinking, I don't know how to make that thing. AI can make it. Then you can get an HTML code and you can embed it on the site. So let's see. If you want, I can turn this into embeddable HTML, JSS, CSS stuff to put it on your website builder, right? Like, yes, I want that. Okay, cool. And then please and thank you, right? And so it's going to create this HTML code for us for the most ridiculous thing that I've come up with in a long time. The golden retriever sushi happiness calculator. Don't say you didn't see it here first. I mean, when this thing goes viral, it's like, you were here when this was invented. And so now I can copy once it's done. This is hilarious. Tiny tail wag detected, mild joy. This is freaking hilarious. Okay, so now I can copy this and I can go into the builder, and we had this custom code, open the code editor and control paste. So if anybody ever asks me if I write code, no, I don't. I know how to copy and paste.
Well, at this point, you technically do. I mean, you're like the AI is just your tool.
So let's see this thing over here. Let's see our little calculator. So just pull it up. There it is. Golden retriever, sushi happiness calculator. How many pieces has he had? 5. 100% happiness. Zoomies may be imminent.
That's awesome.
That's freaking hilarious. So this is a joke calculator. Please don't feed dogs lots of sushi. Yeah, exactly. Disclaimer. Like, it's not good for them. Okay, so yeah. So there you can see it. You can really bring in anything you want. So when people are saying like, oh, high-level websites just look so boring, well, then you're not creative, right? Because there is endless possibilities.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. You really have no excuse at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, I'm just blown away by the amount of stuff you can now do.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so you guys have seen that. Let's see what else I had for us. All right, so we talked about AI can help with CSS code and then how to do that. And if you're more advanced, then you're probably looking at me and going, oh, wow, tip of the iceberg. We can do all these other things. And then let's talk about SEO and AI data. I put this chart together because I had these questions and I thought maybe other people do. So with SEO and AI, this is a huge argument inside of the high level community. Have you ever seen people like, can you even rank high level websites? Do you see people talking about that all the time?
I did. I used to believe that, actually. I'm not even going to lie to you. I used to believe that until
Yeah.
I was proven wrong.
Yeah. So things have changed. They've changed fast. And you have access to add these 3 unique pieces of SEO that also can be picked up by the AI LLMs, right? Like the AI models can pull these up and start referencing your websites as well. So number 1 is meta description. And when you think of meta description, what you actually think about is like what shows up in Google search. So if I'm in Google search, right, and I search for Apple, then you see how there's a description here and there is a title. So Apple with the little hyphen or I don't even know what that's called anymore, but like the long
bar.
the long bar. Then Apple official site, this is the meta title. This is the meta description. So if you're thinking like, oh man, when I search my client's site, like it's just saying something weird down there, that's because back in the day, when you didn't give it any instruction, it would just pull some random sentence off of the homepage, for example. Now you get to determine what you want it to say. Sometimes Google will rewrite it, but for the most part, you get that access. So let's go back in here and look at the SEO and AI search optimization. And so this entire tab gives you the ability to do those meta descriptions. So under content, you get the ability to add the page title, like we were just looking at Apple long bar, right? Like official site. You could add this page title, right? So we could just call it like, dog sushi, right? And then you get the ability to put the description, right? Like you don't want to miss this. This is ridiculous. You don't want to miss this or whatever it is. That, and again, going back to my table, that encourages the click. So when people see that description, they're encouraged by it to click on it. Now there's something called Open Graph or OG, which people talk about a lot. Like Open Graph information is pulled by social platforms and it's also pulled by your text messaging. So, Declan, if I texted you on your cell phone right now and I texted you a link to this brand new website, it'll give you that little preview image. Or if you text a YouTube,
It pops up.
a little preview on top. And so that Open Graph information is also built into High Level as well. So now we have the title and the description, but then if we go further down, Open Graph includes an image. So I can add an SEO image onto this page. I could even create something new. Let's just grab some photo. And now you can see this is the preview image that will show up if I text this link, if I share it on Facebook, if I share it in a DM, if I, basically all the places, if you're on the LinkedIn message, when you're sending things off to people and you're like, well, why did it pull that random image from my website? This gives you the ability to pick which image you want to show up. This can be really powerful because this is like a little mini billboard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and the big thing too is you see so many times it's like a random image.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with anything. And people are like, how do I change that? It's like, well, you got to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we actually create, like for all our clients, when we're building a brand new website, we're building a custom SEO image. And that's where this is going. So that when they share their website or their website gets shared by other people, this is that little mini billboard for them to click on something. And you can create a whole graphic. I mean, this image can have words in it too. So like, let's say, for example, I had like a workshop funnel, and then I would have, I can have images, an image with words on it. That's a little busy, but you guys can kind of see my point. And so you can pull in any picture you want. You could even, create a picture. It's like maybe you're doing dog grooming or something, dog sushi, right? And so you've got that there as your billboard. And then the other thing for the search engines in terms of like meta information are keywords and the author. So you definitely want to give it a page title. So like, I don't know, if it were the name of the company or if it's the name of the person, you'd put that there. And then keywords, like dogs and sushi, right? I will say, Declan, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I have been told that it works either with a comma or with a full stop line break. So that if I put like this, like just dogs or like sushi in Louisville, right? Then those will pull as separate keywords, and or if you don't do that, you can do it as comma separated. And then there's your list of keywords. And you want to use a combination of short form and long form. So I believe either way, because that's every time I went to support, I said, which format should it be in? Because there's no tooltip on this one. They said either way will work. So FYI on that. And then links and tags. This goes a little bit more in depth, but kind of go this route if you're looking to add custom meta tags or canonical links. And canonical links basically show the search engines, for example, that even if there are redirects, this page should always only be indexed on one URL, and you can add that here. So it's a little bit more advanced. And even if you just fill in everything else, you are a step above most sites when it comes to ranking. Language is going to be default English by default, but you can change that. This is one of the brand new aspects that were added. And let me go back to my table to explain what schema is. So schema is more information on the page. So we talked about how a lot like college notes, you want to have the right hierarchy of H1, H2, H3, and paragraph text. Schemas on top of that. So that's what's being displayed and can be crawled by Google. Schema is like another bit of information that goes, and also this page is a article. Also, this page contains a video. Also, this page is answering frequently asked questions, and it gives additional information. this is one of the newer aspects and elements of the SEO and AI tab over here. And so you can add that schema markup. The easy button is to create with AI. And what this will do is it actually analyzes everything on this page, which is the most ridiculous page I've ever created because it's a little bit all over the map. But it'll analyze everything here and it'll create your schema markup for you. And then that other option was to actually manually create it yourself if you want that fine-tuned nuance of like specifying what's going on with that schema. So if you're a beginner to this, which in a lot of ways, I feel kind of like a beginner to schema markup specifically. It's something I want to go a lot deeper in. I was telling Chase Buckner at High Level, I'm like, I can't wait to like actually fully understand this. But I love that they gave us kind of the easy fast forward button to using AI to get started on generating this kind of schema. This is more advanced than what most people do in Squarespace, in WordPress, right? In Wix or wherever. A lot of people are not going this in depth. And the fact that they're giving this to us, it speaks volumes to how High Level is trying to make sure that their users and customers like you and I, and then all of our clients, that we're showing up not just in search, but we're going to be showing up when people ask ChatGPT for advice.
Yeah. The AI SEO, so important.
Yeah. So now we can see what it has created. And really, you don't have to fully understand what's going on here. This is just additional information that is being sent over to, right? It's being added on, I should say. Like it's a JSON little snippet that's being added on. And it's not for the end consumer to see. Like the person coming to the website has no idea that this is behind the scenes. It's for the search engines and the AI tools to quickly map and identify what is on our pages. So you can see like it's just pulling in different things, it's showing off, and it's structuring all this data so that you don't have to, and you don't have to figure out how to write it. So I can just click validate and save. Now I've got at the bottom here, I've got my schema markup, right? And it says this is a restaurant, right? The weirdest restaurant ever, but this is a restaurant.
I know this is all one of one.
Right. And then here's the there's the other way to add that schema, right, is to add it manually. And then last thing I'll say here about the SEO and AI that a lot of people don't necessarily recognize is that it's on a per page basis. So your homepage will have a different description, a different title than your about page, right? Each page deserves your attention on this SEO and AI tab. Right. Like that's super important is that it's not just boilerplate. It's specific to what are actually on these pages. So you do want to take the time to come in here and add all of this. And in this case, I was just going to show you the ad schema. This is if you wanted to do it a little bit more manually, is you can, and I'm still learning exactly how this works. Yes. These new schemas, you choose a type. So if you said like, this is let's see what we have an example here, like a website, right? This is a video object. You can add all of these different types. This is where I'm still learning to go in even deeper into understanding like this is a local business. So we need to be pulling that local business information, business name description. This is the manual effort of what I just showed you that AI can do for you by scrolling the page. So this is your finishing touches because you want all of the words on the page to be already ready to go. You don't want to just generate schema from a template that doesn't have like the real deal in it. So this is a last step thing to create the schema, whether you're doing it manually like this or you're having AI do it like we just looked at.
Amazing. Yeah, this is really incredible. I mean, it's giving people the tools to not only build a world-class website, but finally solve the problem that's been most difficult, which is getting traffic to your website.
Right.
That's the thing that's killed most people. You give them a website, then no one shows up. So it's like, the more and more I go through, life with High Level, the more I realize they are solving every problem step of the way. All these other builders, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Weebly, all this other shit, it only scratches the surface. It solves one problem. But the problem is how many people get a website and then they're like, well, I don't even need this. What's the point with this? It's like, you can take care of the leads with the CRM. You have the website as a front facing, part of the online business. You have, Now the AI SEO pumping traffic to it. You have the AI agents to close the leads. Like, it is the all-in-one solution. And I actually think that High Level soon is going to be the biggest, most powerful, basically AI CRM software, whatever you want to call it at this point, available to local businesses. Because I'm not seeing anyone do what they're doing. I mean, you can agree, Paige, like they're literally covering everything.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And if you think about the closest competitors too, about how much legacy code they have and how much of a dinosaur they are trying to get up to speed with what High Level is doing, it's just wrong time, wrong place. Like, High Level is going to outpace every single competitor of its kind. Not only it's going to beat them on price because of the way that they've built a referral network, and folks like you and I that are so passionate about it, we're out there sharing it with the world, and then they're rewarding us for doing so. But also, it's just newer code base that was built with this in mind. Like, they're able to move so fast integrating AI into all of this.
I literally, before we want to have to just add a part to that, because it is so amazing what you just said. I've seen multiple interviews with Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all these big, AI tech people.
Yeah.
And they were all saying that Fortune 500 and, what do we call them? Massive enterprise businesses across the world are struggling to adopt AI.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you just said. It's that legacy code. They're too big. The bloat, they can't move.
Yeah.
High Level is at that perfect position where they can switch it up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I really do believe, and I'm very bullish on High Level, so to speak. I think they are going to be, hands down, bar none, the best of the best, because they're adopting faster than everyone else. I mean, I was talking to Michael. He's the AI voice agent guy, and he was telling me, he was like, I came from another company to High Level because I don't know anyone that has better AI voice agents.
Yep.
I mean, High Level back in the day, we can both agree, was not the best. It kind of was this mid-tier kind of like, it's cool, it's got a good community, but it's not the best. Now it's like they have the best tools. They have the best support. They have the best this, the best that, the best AI. Like, we are seeing almost like a monopoly on this. So that's why when I have you on, or I talk to anyone watching the video, it's like, get in on High Level, get in the community, and ride this gravy train all the way, because it will be, in my opinion, for what I can see with the data, number one. Because the other businesses, Salesforce, HubSpot, they can't compete. Too big. They're starting to feel that blow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100%. And it's not even that it will be, at my point. From where I sit right now with the average local business, especially, there's no better option.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere else. My agency, we're not building anywhere else. All those tools I talked to you, those platforms that I was building on, that ended in 2020. I no longer, if a client goes, no, I'm adamant, I need this on Squarespace, I go, well, you're not a client for us, because there's no reason why you would ever want to build it anywhere else but High Level. So yeah, because that actually segues me nicely into, we just talked about all that for launching it, but a website is just a website. Like, let's talk about all of the growth assets and automation that you can create, right? Like, this is where it's at, because clients don't just want a brochure anymore, right? They need something that actually converts. And so, this is really what High Level allows you to do. And this is just scratching the surface. We didn't even talk about, we should put checkouts on here, right? Like, you can collect full payments. You can do so many different things.
E-commerce.
Yeah. E-commerce stores. Right. Yeah. You can have I did a whole video on like how to do printful drop shipping with like a swag store, e-commerce stores. Exactly. So it's becoming kind of like I would say like a Shopify-esque competitor. And anything you look at, for example, like you just said, voice AI, we've got native high-level voice AI booking calendar appointments for clients right now. Like, as we speak, there's probably somebody calling into my client's voice AI, and it's all built on High Level. And I think, to your point, is if you don't think a feature is there yet right now, just wait, because it will be. And that's where I was about 8 or 9 months ago. I thought, okay, I'm not ready on the voice AI agents, because they sound a little weird and there's a huge lag, and like that doesn't answer very well. And now there's no lag. It sounds natural. It's amazing. And so I think that is one thing to be patient on, is like, maybe you don't go out tomorrow and try and get people to migrate off of Shopify, because the e-commerce, components are moving their way along. And for some clients, it's gonna make a ton of sense. Maybe for some, you're like, oh, they're not ready yet. The same thing with voice AI. I'm just going to be patient, because there were so many other people going, oh, wait, go to this third party tool, go to that part. This one has the best chat thing. That one has the best chat. And for some people that really works. And for me, I thought, What'll really work for me is simplicity. And so I'm going to wait until this feature is ready to rock. And I'm telling you, within the last month to 3 months, it's just profound the advancements that they've had and how well this can be implemented for businesses. So we're now selling native AI in high level as that growth asset, right? And so I've got it on here like AI chat and voice. That is definitely an asset that you can build. I know that today's video was really focused on the website builder, but these are next steps, right? What opt-in forms, quizzes, surveys, chat widgets, what digital calendar scheduling, what checkouts do you have? Like, how are you making it easier for the customers of your business or the customer's customer, like your clients' customers, to move forward on the website? And everything here can be built natively in high level,
Mhm.
including all of the automation workflows that can do everything from like all of the email marketing and text message marketing that you want to be automated, done in a workflow. And maybe it's you want to also alert the team and move them on an opportunity board. Like everything in the CRM, and I just put CRM is like that. That in itself, people are online now. Small businesses know this terminology and they're like, I need a CRM. It's like, well,
Yeah.
no, you need more than that. Let's build you a whole cohesive system. So I could do another like 4 hours alone on these.
I'll actually be linking a video at the end that's going to go over a lot of that stuff. So, guys watching, do not worry. I will have you covered for that.
Cool. That's it. And then I mean, really, it's just so fun because inside of the builder, right? No longer do you have to, let me just get out of this right here. No longer do you have to go, okay, I better figure out how I can tie a website into like a Calendly booking or Acuity booking. It's no, just come in here and add a new element and bring in the digital calendar. I mean, if you're not even doing that, a baseline, right, for your clients, you're missing out because we've got clients now where, they're just waking up to new appointments, new consults on their calendar because they gave people the ability to. And if you're cold calling, if you're one of those people like kind of cold calling for people, you just got to remind them the convenience that they appreciate in their own lives. Like for example, I was showing off my community of like, don't be scared to call. I called a local dog grooming company and I said, you don't have a website, but you have a brick and mortar location with a lease on one of the busier streets in our city. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing without a website? And they're like, well, we don't think people really use that website. And it's because they haven't even, they're like proving themselves wrong kind of thing. And I'm like, so I always take it back to, I'm like, what conveniences do you enjoy? Like, hey, when was the last time you went on Open Table and booked a reservation for yourself to show up at a restaurant, right? It's like, oh, that was really convenient, right? Did you order something on Amazon in the last 3 months? Oh, that was really convenient, right? And you play that same role back to them and you go, well, what do you think people think about your business when they have to call and maybe the phone call is busy and they didn't get it? And then they have to like tinker around with you of like, oh, can you do Thursday? No, I can't do Friday. Can you do Wednesday? I even do it with my dentist office. I'm annoyed. I'm like, just give me the ability to directly schedule, right? So stuff like that, you got to just play it back for them and then talk about like, well, this is what makes it easy. So any of these elements right here that would include your forms, your surveys, your quizzes, your checkout pages, your calendars, these are all just features inside of the system. So you're building the calendars, right? On the site side, you're building the forms, you're building the surveys, you're building the quizzes, you're building the chat widgets. And then when you're in the website builder, which was the main topic of this video, you're just pulling in those elements because they all already exist in one single login.
It's incredible. I mean, it actually is incredible. Like no joke. It's mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I have to tell people all the time. It's that the kind of like zooming back out because we all get so in it, we get in the weeds of it. We forget how remarkable this is. I mean, the number of things we used to have to piece together and duct tape them and glue them together and hope and pray that it didn't break was, I mean, unfounded. I have clients from a decade ago where I have a list of all the tools I had. Your calendar's here, your payments are here, this thing's here, this thing's here. And not only are the clients confused, they're like, where do I log in again to see that portion of my business?
I
But
know.
then you were overwhelmed because it was a lot of tech to have to learn. And now you can learn one system and build, I mean, practically anything you could possibly want for a business.
Well, the crazy thing too, on top of what you just said, Paige, which is more of like a private equity play, which is where people forget even more, is that if you're trying to sell a business, it's so difficult if you have things in a million different places because you have to train another team. There's all these other things you may have to sign to let the business go without you. But with this, if you can create a system, like HighLevel, where everything's in one place, you're literally transferring logins. And then you could even create a training course inside a HighLevel to give said people to learn it. And then from there, it's like literally just handing the keys to the kingdom, as opposed to this massive, like, now we need to take 3 months so you can learn my, complex ass system. No, you just hand off. So it's like you're building from the foundation from the get-go the right way. So if you do want to sell your agency, business, you name it, you have a much more valuable all-in-one asset in one place, which is like people literally dream of this stuff when they're the other way. So when they're trying to sell, they're like, I just wish it was that simple, but it's like,
Totally.
it can be that simple.
Totally. And gosh, I have so many experiences of people I've talked to that at first were like, no, I've got it all figured out. I've got my stack. I've got this calendar is on this tool, and then this thing happens over here, and then there's where we collect invoices. And they'll talk themselves into the complexity of it. And then 3 months later, they call me up and they're like, Paige, you were right. I should have just been on HighLevel the whole time. Yeah. So I hear it. Well, I'm really hoping that I think we covered a lot of ground, but I'm really hoping that people feel confident about this. I mean, obviously, did we go, like, there's more you can do in the system. And as you learn, you're going to get it. Like, there's even more elements down here that are kind of like pre-designed for you. And, and then image stylings and progress bars, there's countdown timers, right? There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can create in this system. And there are a lot of different options that you can choose. You can see down to like the styles. There's all these little folders and stuff. What I've shared today and what I've gone over are the most important things. So I didn't specifically miss something. It's just that some of these are so nuanced. I don't spend a ton of time adding shadows to each and every element, right? But it's here. It's here for you if you need it. There's so much you can do with this tool. And I hope I've really kind of done justice to what you were thinking that we were going to cover here today, Declan.
Oh, definitely. Above and beyond.
Nice. Well, that's all I've got for the whole like training on what's going on with the website builder.
I love it. Where can people find you, Paige?
Yeah, so I'm at Paige Batcher on every single social, except my signature is like right down here. That's how you spell my name. But yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. And I've also got a community it's kismet.club. So I know it's not .com, but if you go to the kismet.club, you'll see kismet.club is kind of our free area where we all hang out and talk high level, talk websites, talk AI.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Paige, thank you so much for being here. Seriously, I appreciate it. And I hope to do another video with you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, guys, that's it. We made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in HighLevel, click the link down below, okay? If you have any questions at all, drop them down below. I will answer personally. So whatever feedback or you want to go over stuff, I got you covered. But more importantly, I'm going to link a video at the end of this video that's going to be going over the forms, quizzes, surveys, all that stuff on HighLevel, because that's going to help you really take it to the next level. So this is really important because once you understand the whole website part, you now need to understand the rest of the CRM and AI so you can plug it in and you can absolutely just blitz and crush. But again, you're only going to learn that if you watch the video that pops up at the end of this one. So make sure you watch it. Click it. It's going to pop up.